Welcome to another episode of the Whiskey House Pub House, where today we're going to be ranking our top 5 best affordable shelfers. Let's get into it. So, I didn't want to call this budget, and I didn't really want to set a firm price on this, because I think budget is different from...
Everyone's budget is different.
Exactly. So I think we kind of did cap this list at around $50. I just felt like anything above that, we're starting to talk about non-daily stuff. So we kind of did a soft cap on that of around the $50, but not a hard set. So these markets change, prices change where you are. So like our list, it might be different for you. But these are our personal favorite affordable shelfers. So we picked 5. We do have some honorable mentions, so let's get into the honorable mentions to start out with. Do you want to go first on one of yours?
I'm going to do that now.
I think so, because then we'll get to our favorites.
Normally you do it in between 2 and 1.
All right, well, Whiskey Boy is dictating this episode, so we'll go. So number 5, do you want to give your number 5?
Sure. My number 5 is Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond 7-year. $42, 100 proof. It's got a 7-year age statement. You know, you just kind of can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, it's not going to be everyone's favorite. I know the Evan Williams Bonded, that's up there for competitiveness. It's the other option that you can go with. But the 7-year Bonded is pretty good. My number 5 is actually going to be kind of a Tennessee whiskey. Jack Daniel's Bonded, 100 proof.
Also bonded.
Also bonded. This one's about $30.
Yeah.
And again, these are just our favorites. So This is my 5th favorite. Affordable, shelf-stable, whatever you call it. Bourbon. And if you don't think it's bourbon, I'll fight you.
It's not a bourbon.
If I was good at editing, I'd pretend punch you and then edit that. But I'm not, so I won't.
I don't know if I've ever actually had the bonded.
It's pretty good. Banana. If you like the single barrel Jack Daniel's black labels, you'll probably like this one. It's just more of that. It doesn't have necessarily the same amount of oak as the single barrels.
Sure.
Probably because it's not as old. But higher proof Jack Daniel's, you can't really go wrong with that.
Yeah.
I'll go first. How about?
Go for it.
All right, my number 4, Michter's US 1 Bourbon. I think, personally, Michter's is kind of a underrated shelf-stable bourbon. I think a lot of people kind of overlook it because it's sourced. A lot of people know that Michter's is sourcing from Brown-Forman. So while it's probably Brown-Forman juice, they do have a unique filtration process that you can call BS on it if you want, but I think there's something to it. It does have a weird mouthfeel in comparison to other whiskeys in its category. And, this one I think is worth the money.
I've never actually had it.
It's pretty good.
I got my first bottle of it today.
Nice.
It just showed up on my counter. So
That's
I will be trying that when I get home.
Whiskey showing up.
That is how all whiskey should be obtained, but it doesn't always work that way.
Nope. So what do you got?
My number 4, Rare Breed.
So how much is this?
It's like 50 to 60 depending on
That's kind of
where you are. That's why it's my number 4, because the price. It's a little higher proof than the other ones, which personally I like. But it is just that price point just makes it a little lower on the list. And for a while it wasn't very stable on the shelf.
There was a minute where there was concern it was going away.
But it is fully back now. And you can find it pretty much anywhere. But that price kind of drops it a little lower on my list.
Great whiskey from a great distillery.
It is very great.
All right, number 3. You want to go first?
Sure. My number 3 is Yellowstone Select Bourbon. So it's just their regular shelfer bourbon.
Yeah, their mainstay.
Yeah,
This one's really affordable.
$30.
Yeah, it's sourced from Heaven Hill, but it's a good sipper, good mixer, whatever you want to do, and very affordable.
Very good.
My number 4 classic, Four Roses single barrel. This is a little bit more pricey. This is kind of around the $50 range up here. I'm seeing, SRPs around $40, $45. I've seen this at total, I think, for like around 50 or just under. But nonetheless, 100 proof, super spicy, complex, and it's a single barrel. A great whiskey for a great price. On to number 2. So my number 2 changes it up a little bit from our standard bourbons or Tennessee whiskeys, or whatever you prefer. This is the first one that is going to be wheated. Maker's Mark 46. This is my favorite, the definitive Maker's Mark. This is the one to get if you've really never experienced Maker's Mark. At least personally, I think that is a good starting point.
Yeah, I would agree.
All the other Maker's Mark, for me, kind of has a grassy note to it.
Sure.
This does not. It has super mellow characteristics to it. Nice spice from the French oaking, which is what the 46 refers to. 46 is just the 46th recipe of the stave profiles that Maker's Mark did, I believe with ISC, International Stave Company.
Yep.
And it's a fantastic pour. The price on this is super affordable. It's shelf stable. This is SRP of around $40.
You really can't go wrong with this. It's a very mellow, wheated, but still has that little bit of interestingness
Je ne sais quoi.
from the French oak.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it's not just your everyday drinker.
Yeah.
I mean, it is, but it gives you something different than most other everyday drinkers.
Cocktail's neat. Either way, you're going to have this. It's going to be a great tool in your bar, and it has a lot of utility to it. That's my number 2.
My number 2 is Benchmark Full Proof. $22. That is kind of what you'll see it at. We don't get this in Minnesota. Closest place is Iowa, which actually is just fairly recent that Iowa started getting it. $22, 125 proof. It is from Buffalo Trace. 4 years, as far as I know.
Kind of tastes like that too.
Cornbread. It does.
But if you like that, it's a good price.
Honestly, it's a great mixer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little hot at 125. It's a really good all around. I mean, it's $22.
Sure.
You can't go wrong with that.
No, you cannot. And even if you don't really like these bottles off of our list, the good thing is they weren't that expensive. So,
give them a shot.
Yeah, if you give it a shot and you hate it, sorry. This was our list anyways.
At least you're not spending $80, $90 on a bottle that you're not going to like.
Very true. So for my honorable mentions, they're going to be...
As he pulls out 10 different bottles.
Obviously, the whole lineup of Buffalo Trace. Obviously, you can find these every day on the shelves.
They're like, what, $10, $15?
They give them away.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm just joking. But if you do see them, the Buffalo Trace would be a consideration, I suppose. All joking aside, my real recommendations, or honorable mentions, Cooper's Craft. This one is a really good 100 proofer from Old Forester. Before they sold their cooperage in commemoration of this bottle. So if you find these now, I don't know what's going to happen to this line.
That's why you wanted some.
Yeah, I did reach out to a friend that has access to these, because in Minnesota you cannot get them.
Wisconsin you can.
Wisconsin you can. But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen to these. These are in commemoration of Brown-Forman's cooperage, which if you didn't check out our podcast or video, I think where we talked about it, their cooperage is going under, unfortunately.
Very unfortunate.
So if you see these, I don't know what's going to happen to them. I'm not telling you they're going away, but I'm not sure what's happening. Do you have one?
I do. 1792 small batch. It's pretty good.
Yeah, from the Barton Distillery, obviously. You know, it's around that $30. I think you can get it under at times. If you've been following us for a while, we used to do like price tier challenges, and I think this was the $30 champion.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, it's a solid bourbon for the whiskey, and you can pretty much find it wherever.
If people don't have it on their allocated list.
Which is weird.
So stupid.
Yeah. Yeah,
It must be a Minnesota thing.
Don't buy it at bumped inflated pricing. But anyways, another what were we calling them? Honorable mention. You know, the new Green River stuff. Pretty much anything from Green River. This is like $35. 45 proof, 45% alcohol, that is. And easy drinker, pretty shelf stable if it's in your market. And that's the main reason why this isn't number one or wherever, is because this isn't accessible in a few markets still. But otherwise, a great recommendation nonetheless.
Another one, Isaac Bowman Port Finish. Another, well, Sazerac. $40. But I love the port finish. Just gives it that, you know, that little sweeter piece to it. And, you know, there's a lot of other port finish stuff that's a lot more expensive.
Yeah, the Angel's Envy stuff I think is even more expensive than that bottle.
And honestly, I'd rather have this.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm going to bundle my last two recommendations for honorable mentions. The Winter Reserve Jim Beam release, for the price, is one of the best things from Jim Beam, in my opinion. And standing in for the regular Still Austin musician is my cast strength one. I do not have the standard musician currently. Because I am out, because it is delicious. And a great price for a Texas whiskey. Either one of these, you really can't go wrong. So, these are my honorable mentions.
Shall we get to number one?
We shall.
So, our number one is actually the same.
Yep. At number one, Russell's Reserve 10. Is it really a surprise? A 10-year-old, age-dated product, 45% ABV. That is shelf stable and a lot of times less than $40.
Yep. The average price that I found was $38.
And at that, can you go wrong? I know the rare breed, a lot of the times people consider that the pinnacle of the daily sippers for Wild Turkey.
$50-$60 though.
It's just a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that one doesn't have an age statement to it. So if that's something that means something to you, then go ahead with this.
Can't go wrong with a $40 10-year product.
And I'll tell you what, it's a lot better than Eagle Rare in my opinion anyways.
Yeah.
That sounded certain. Well, that's been our list for our top 5 shelf-stable, affordable bottles.
Affordable shelfers.
That sounds a lot better. If you got any value of this, please like, comment, subscribe. Leave us a comment if you want us to review something specific. But we'll see you next time. This has been the Whiskey House Pub House. Goodbye.
Bye.